the truth, we bear witness. Seen the rubble, the buildings, the mothers and the children, and all the men that you murdered, and then we see how you spin it. Who gets the right to defend and who gets the right of resistance? It's always been about dollars and the color of your pigment, but white supremacy is finally on blast, screaming free Palestine to their home at last. We see the lies and others claiming it's Santa.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Just playing a little something to get me going. Actually, that's like that was Hens Hall. If you guys were listening, by Michael Moore. If you've not played it, you definitely have to play it. I've listened to it about 5 times this morning, just to remind me why I'm having this conversation, a very important conversation. But good morning, folks. Good morning, evening, afternoon, night, whenever you're watching this. It's Jerlene and I'm live. I have a guest today. I know it's been a bit since I've did this commentary or any commentary with a guest, but it's a very important topic. And I brought in an expert that can like break it down. If you've not heard about AB715, it's an assembly bill that recently passed in the state of California. You're going to learn about it right now. Okay. So I'm joined with a Marcy, and Marcy's going to introduce herself. But again, it's Jerlene. I'm live here to engage, inform, inspire, and hopefully, and I don't know if we're going to be able to laugh through this conversation, but I was listening to something earlier and it was talking about how we continue to, in our advocacy, be sources of joy at the same time. So maybe we will be able to put a smile on somebody's face in this conversation. So good morning, Marcy. Go ahead, tell me who you are and why you are here.
Well, first of all, I'm Marcy Winograd, and I am so grateful to you, Jerlene, for inviting me on your live stream. This is really exciting. I am the coordinator of CODEPINK's Drop the ADL campaign. That's the Anti-Defamation League, which is really one of the main organizations involved in the Israel lobby in the United States. I am also a co-producer of CODEPINK Radio, excited about a new program that's coming up with where Medea Benjamin and myself, we will be talking about the news and what's happening and the news behind the news. It will be called Empire on the Rocks, and it's part of our CODEPINK Radio series. I also serve as a member of the legislative team of Jewish Voice for Peace Action, which is the sister to Jewish Voice for Peace, and have been involved for months in thwarting, stopping legislation first to undermine ethnic studies. And when that went nowhere except the trash, now we are fighting AB715.
Wow. Well, I've been following you. I don't even know how I came across you on social media, but I started following you, and through your different posts has been able to help me keep updated. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually share one of your most recent posts specifically about AB 715. So people just give me a moment while I pull this up.
And while you're doing that, if you want, I can run down some of the highlights or lowlights of the bill.
Okay, let's see if I'm able to do this easily.
While you're doing that, I'll just explain this bill was introduced by Assembly members of Hollywood and Don Addis of Morro Bay, Scott Wiener of San Francisco, Jesse Gabriel of the San Fernando Valley, and it was co-authored by the chairs of what they call the diversity caucuses, the Black, Latino, and AAPI caucuses. So that would be Mike Fong, Akilah Weber Pearson, and Lena Gonzalez.
Okay, I hope people were listening. I'm live from Long Beach right now, and I know that one of the folks that you just mentioned is one of the representatives in my area. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I have it pulled up. I'm going to play this. So folks, if you're watching it, this is a post that gives just a little snapshot of AB 715, and then we're going to continue the conversation after I play this. Are you able to hear it, Marcy?
It's a little low.
Desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes. Ayes 71, no 0. The measure passes.
335 times by the Israeli genocide forces. And her story is going to be censored. Her story is going to be censored. This is an Israeli genocide censorship bill, and you all know it. And the genocide is ongoing. So this censorship is aiding and abetting a genocide that is ongoing. You all have blood on your hands. You have let the Israeli genocidal government know that the California legislature will censor their crimes.
Blood on your hands! Blood on your hands!
Were you, hopefully folks were able to hear that. I've watched that more than once, and listening to it made the hair on my arms stand up. Especially after watching, what is it, 713 days of terror. It's been a lot. So I'm going to just pop it over to you. Give us a breakdown of that was last Saturday, correct? That was last
Correct.
Saturday.
It was past midnight when the Senate passed the bill.
Okay, so I have a question. Is that normal?
I don't think so. I mean, it has happened where they have these middle of the morning votes, but it's not routine, certainly. And under the circumstances in which they passed it, which was that the bill would be cleaned up a lot after passage, it was horrifying to watch. It was such a subversion of democracy. And if time allows, I'll just highlight some of the key aspects of this bill. So AB715, pushed by JPAC, which is the Jewish Public Affairs Committee. It's a Zionist Israel lobby organization of at least 40 organizations in California. JPAC rhymes with APAC. So they pushed this bill after previous iterations of AB715 were really seriously problematic, and this is as well. But what this bill does, that the other iterations also did, is that it conflates criticism of Israel with anti-Semitism, as it establishes an anti-Semitism prevention coordinator for not just K through 12, but transitional kindergarten through 12. And so our concern, Jewish Voice for Peace Action, CODEPINK, CARE, Arab Resource Organizing Committee, American Arab Anti-Discrimination Committee, Democratic Socialists of America, a long list of organizations, ACLU, all of the teachers' organizations, CTA, CFA, CFT, plus the organizations, associations that represent school board members and state school superintendents or local school superintendents. What was so objectionable is that this bill, in establishing an anti-Semitism prevention coordinator, first of all, fails to explicitly define what anti-Semitism is, yet opens the door to conflation of criticism of Israel with anti-Semitism, because in the bill itself, it references at least twice a document called the U.S. National Strategy on Countering Anti-Semitism. And this in turn uplifts another document, which we all should know about, really, because this is a document that is being used to weaponize false charges of anti-Semitism, and that is the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance, IHRA, IHRA, definition and examples of anti-Semitism. Among those examples, we have, you're anti-Semitic if you question Israel's right to exist as a Jewish state, as an ethno-supremacist state. If you say Israel is an apartheid state, that could be considered anti-Semitic under this bill. If you say Israeli leaders are acting like Nazis in Gaza, which is something that Israelis are saying, some of them, you would be considered anti-Semitic. So we're concerned that this anti-Semitism prevention coordinator would basically be policing instruction throughout our public school system to silence the voices of dissent over Israel's occupation, genocide, apartheid, and colonization of Palestine. In addition, the bill does not establish any other coordinators in an Office of Civil Rights to address discrimination. So it's really very racist. It is ignoring the discrimination that targets people of color, the majority of whom make up our public school system: Latinos, African Americans, AAPI, Indigenous. It ignores the discrimination targeted at gay and trans students, at disabled students, and on and on. So it is elevating the protection of one class of students over all others, which is going to backfire. I mean, students are not stupid, right? No one's stupid. We see what's happening before our eyes. This is elevating one class of students to shield Israel from criticism for its genocide in Gaza. There are other problems with the bill, and I can go into those as we proceed.
That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
just trying to process that is quite a bit. So you mentioned something that we all need to know and understand is the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance. So is that like what is it? Is it a
What is
policy?
it? Exactly. Great question. Yeah. So for sure, we call it the IRA, is a definition of anti-Semitism, which in and of itself is not a problem, but it adopts 11 examples. And most of those are a problem because they center Israel as the definition of Jewish identity. And it is not, and the movement opposing Zionism dates back to the origins of Zionism in the late 1800s, at least as far back as that. And Albert Einstein, Hannah Arendt, there were a lot of notable people who opposed this idea of a Jewish homeland imposed on historic Palestine at the expense of the ethnic cleansing of the indigenous Palestinians. So this bill misrepresents Jewish students and sets them up for blowback, because other students are going to see, hey, they're getting a lot of special treatment. Why are we less than? Right? Now, a common misunderstanding, which was propagated during the discussions in the legislature leading up to the passage of this bill, AB715, in the Assembly and the Senate, is that the bill links to another bill, SB 48, and that this bill will guarantee coordinators for other protected classes. This is not true. This is false. Okay. SB 48 is what we call an intent bill. It's just merely like a statement of the will of the legislature. We intend at some point, sometime in future, who knows when, to establish other coordinators in this Office of Civil Rights. But right now, anti-Semitism is such a problem. We need to urgently establish this other coordinator who will then have dominion over all of the students starting in pre-K and with 4-year-olds in developing strategies for education and training on anti-Semitism and on up through high school. Now, this anti-Semitism prevention coordinator would be appointed by the governor to be confirmed by a politically beholden state senate. Okay. I asked a friend of mine who used to serve in the state senate. He was the whip. I said, how are we going to defeat this bill? And he said, defeating the Israel lobby in the California legislature, that's almost impossible. I don't think it's impossible. It's very hard. I've been involved in other struggles to weaken legislation that they've introduced, and some of them have been successful in not only weakening them, but in in the Israel lobby abandoning the legislation. So it's this coordinator that's problematic, but also other aspects of AB 715 raise eyebrows. For example, it says that all education must be factually accurate and fair and balanced. Okay, well, all right, you might say, that's reasonable. Why would we want factually inaccurate information in instruction? You really got to read between the lines, because what this is opening the door to the Trump administration to come in and say, fair and balanced, you better teach the positive aspects of slavery, of Japanese internment, of white replacement theory, of the January 6th riots, but they wouldn't call them riots. What would they call them? Rebellion or something. So that's one aspect of it. And factually accurate, who is to determine this? This anti-Semitism prevention coordinator, a state superintendent, is really not clear. It calls for all sorts of punitive actions against county offices of education. I think there are 53 in California, to enforce teacher training that is designed by this anti-Semitism prevention coordinator, who we suspect will be closely aligned with Israel lobby groups such as the Anti-Defamation League, the Jewish Federation, the JCRC, and on and on. So those are other concerns too. Oh, we can't hear you. We want to hear you.
You shared a post and you listed out some of the concerns. So I pulled it up on a slide right here. You just went over the one about the factually accurate. I'm going to share the second page of that. Oh, was that the?
And while you're doing that, I'll just say, this will have a chilling effect on teachers who are afraid now to even talk about what all students see on their cell phones. That is a live stream genocide in Gaza, where Israel, with the backing of the United States, has killed, we suspect, based on reports from human rights organizations, hundreds of thousands of people, many of them children.
680,000 was one of the reports that recently came out. I've listed here, show here some of the concerns. You know, I live in Long Beach, and we recently, there was a situation in a school, at a school site, where a teacher was wearing her keffiyeh, and all of a sudden she was getting like complaints against her, and it was really extreme, hundreds and hundreds of complaints to the school district about this teacher wearing a keffiyeh, and to her union and a group of parents. We went and we stood, you know, on behalf of her, and the district, thank goodness, the district basically said, you know, she's done nothing wrong. But that was not the first time that we had a Zionist cohort show up and file complaint against something in Long Beach Unified. And so that's, it is kind of frightening. I did read the legislation of where it's intended to go to the future. And as far as defining what anti-Semitism means, it's really interesting. Yet I have a question. So I did look at the legislators who approved this, and I noticed that 11 did not vote. And then I saw that you had posted something about Brian Isaac, and I believe it was some concession that had to do with SB 48.
Well, what happened was prior to the introduction of this legislation, AB 715, certain lawmakers, among them, I believe, Isaac Bryan, had pledged to support some form of anti-Semitism legislation. And later on, there was another memo issued by Sasha Perez and the Senate President Mike McGuire from up in Northern California, who were instrumental in passing the censorship legislation, saying that they would deliver anti-Semitism prevention legislation to the governor by the end of the legislative session, which is, I believe, the end of September. So we knew what was coming. And then, you know, Politico reported that Isaac Bryan, who represents Los Angeles, had brokered a compromise or was negotiating between the Legislative Jewish Caucus authors and the Diversity Caucus chairs to try to level the playing field. And what did we end up with? We ended up with an intent bill that is really nothing. It's a nothing burger. You know, what struck me throughout the very disturbing Assembly and Senate floor votes and discussion leading up to those votes was how many problems the legislators pointed out with the bill, and how many times, both on the floor and in hearings, they tried to exact promises from Scott Wiener, the co-chair of the Legislative Jewish Caucus, also the chair of the Budget Committee in the California Senate, extract promises from the authors Zbur and Addis that they would work with skeptics in the legislature to fix the problems. They call it clean it up, clean it up. Will you clean up this bill? And, you know, for a long time in the hearings, the authors tried to skirt this and tried not to make any promises. And ultimately, I think they did say, yeah. And Mia Bonta, who represents Alameda and Oakland, she is the wife of the Attorney General, Rob Bonta. Her office was inundated with opposition to this bill. And she said, look, I'm going to support this, provided that you clean it up and that you work with us basically on other issues. And I think the subtext there was that you fund ethnic studies, because all along that was the deal, right? That these caucus chairs would go along with this anti-Semitism legislation if there was funding for ethnic studies. Scott Wiener, who chairs the Budget Committee, Jesse Gabriel, who chairs the Budget Committee in the Assembly, they have not funded ethnic studies, not a dime. And this is supposed to be a graduation requirement in 2030.
Yeah, but what's interesting, make it make sense. So we can have ethnic studies, but we can't talk about the plight of the Palestinian people.
Well, now we can't even have ethnic studies, period.
No, I'm just saying, like that's not really gonna make any sense, right? How did we get here? Okay, and then we can begin to wrap up. And what do we do now? Again, looking at that list of legislators who supported this was disappointing, because it basically, when it says it not only censors us, but it creates favoritism over a group of people. And my thing is like, we still waiting for some legislation that's going to protect some Black people in this country. We've been waiting for a really, 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 really long time, and it ain't here yet. And I just saw Black legislators just like kind of jump on it and yay, we support this. What about us?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, people, that spoke on the floor, they said they were getting calls and emails 8-1 in opposition to AB 715. They said this will bankrupt school districts up and down the state of California because people will sue over harassment, or people will sue from the right over this idea that everything should be fair and balanced. If we can, I would just like to mention the names of the people in the legislature who did not vote for this bill, who abstained. Okay, so an abstention is sort of the coward's way out. It counts as a no vote in essence, because to pass a bill, you need the majority of the entire body, whether that person is there or not, or voting or whatever. So they're taking from the majority. And these abstentions included Arambula from Fresno, Colosa, Los Angeles, Ellery from South Los Angeles, Garcia, Cucamonga, Calra, Santa Clara, Lee, Milpitas, Maritsuchi, Torrance, Ortega, Hayward, Salachi, Paramount, Choi, Irvine, Cortese, San Jose, Gonzalez, Long Beach, one of the authors of the bill. She received so much anger. She was the target of so much anger that she couldn't even vote for the bill. Valladares, Valencia, and Wahab, Fremont. Other than that, everybody voted for the bill. Okay.
I did see Isaac's name on a list of no vote. So did he? I saw he did. It's interesting because if you go to the state's page of where they list the bills out, and it shows you the name of the list of who voted and who didn't vote, he was on number 11. And that's why when I saw your post that that he was in support of this, I was like, excuse me, I was like, well, that's kind of punkish. You supported it, but then you just didn't vote.
I'm gonna have to check that because I thought he had voted for it.
I meant to have that link ready, and I'm working off 2 different computers, and it's pulled up on the other computer. So, so what's next?
Okay, so what's next, and how do we get here? I just want to say, the Israel lobby is incredibly well funded. It's super organized, and that's where we have to outdo them. We have to be more organized, right? And we're getting there, right? We're mobilizing a lot of people in opposition to this bill. Years ago, when they introduced a bill to ban boycotts of Israel, we weakened that legislation to be basically a nothing burger. So it's happening. We just have to keep building on what we've got right now. So what can we do? I would urge you, if you're watching this, listening, to call the governor's office and leave a comment saying you want him to veto AB 715 because it is a racist bill that exceptionalizes one group of people over all others in California, and it threatens to defund public education. The number to call, Jerlene has it right here on the screen, 916-445-2841. That's 916-445-2841. You can also leave a comment by just, Googling or site searching. Contact the governor and tell him what you think about AB 715. Always ask, veto. Will you veto? And also, if you represent an organization, we urge you, and when I say we, I mean the Coalition to Defend Public Education. This is a newly formed organization, an umbrella for all the 100 organizations that oppose AB 715. We're asking that organizations submit organizational letters, so logo, letter, signature of an officer or a representative, wet signature, saying don't vote for AB 715. And that email to send the letter to is legledge.unit, UNIT, at gov.ca.gov. So I'll say it one more time. leg.unit at gov.ca.gov. And if you have any questions, do email me. You can email me at Marcy, MARCY, at codepink.org. And one other thing I'll suggest, and that is that we start forming educator defense committees, because they will be coming after our teachers. Just as we saw this week, the University of California at Berkeley, my alma mater, submit 160 names to the Trump administration of people who allegedly committed anti-Semitic incidents without ever substantiating what those incidents were. They informed the 160, but they didn't tell them what the charges were. Just as we saw that happen at the university level, we can expect there'll be a lot of pressure to submit names of teachers in the K-12 system. And so we need these committees. We do have the Educator Defense Network in Los Angeles, and we also have Educators for Justice in Palestine. And I will add, if you're a teacher, you're an educator, I invite you to join us at the California Teachers Association, which will be holding its state council meeting October 17th through the 19th. I am the chair of a newly formed caucus titled CTA, Jewish and Allied Educators for the number 4 Palestine. So that's, and we're on Instagram. We had to shorten it for Instagram. So it's CTA, Jews and Allies, number 4 Palestine on Instagram. Please follow us.
So what I can do after we end, I can take all of your different ways of contact and I can drop them into the post as well as into the comments. But what I do want to add right here is give me the email address for you one more time.
Sure. Marcy, M-A-R-C-Y, at CODEPINK.org. There we go.
Technology, right? Technology. You can email Marcy directly if you have any questions or need information. I will be dropping, and I would say thank you to Dr. Tabari, who's in the background right now. She's dropping information into she's dropping information to share as well. But we will make sure that all these different links and points of contact is in there. So this passed on the 13th. And that means, so the governor has 30 days to approve or veto, right? Do you think that this is, because this will be a week tomorrow, do you think this is something that he's trying to rush through? Do you think he's going to sit on it for 30 days? Do we have time? Do we need to just make
we don't have time.
We don't have time. Okay, people, you hear that? We don't have time. Okay, we don't have time.
Yeah, we're asking organizations to submit letters today or Monday, early next week, because we don't know. And if you believe Rick Chavez Zbur, the assemblyman from Los Angeles, who was the principal author, Gavin Newsom's office advised the authors how to write this legislation. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know whether we can believe him or not, but we can't take any chances. Newsom needs to hear.
So this is urgent, people. I mean, if you're listening, this is urgent. If you're watching, again, so please, I'll make sure that everyone is tagged properly. Please follow Marcy on social media, and you will get some of the most delightful videos that are informative and keeping us updated on not only this legislation, other issues that are taking place right now. I know people are still in a place of fear of where we're afraid to share any information that is related to the horrors that are happening in Palestine by Israel. We have to stop being afraid. It's because of our fears, in my opinion, is one of the reasons why we ended up in this place. I'm so thankful to be able to hear from a Jewish woman that is standing not only to make sure that her beliefs is represented properly, but that those of us as well are represented properly. So I'm appreciative to that. Let's see, someone made a comment. But I just want to say, if you're watching this, no matter when you're watching this, please like, react, share, comment, call the governor today. Call today, leave a message, share this video with others. If you have questions, please reach out to Marcy. If you have questions, you can reach out to me, and then I'm gonna call Marcy if I don't understand. But we're gonna in this, we may have to do this again. And bring in other folks and continue this conversation. But again, I thank you, Marcy, for at such a short notice joining me in this conversation. And I'm in the process of learning. I'm learning more. And right now, again, as Jerlene, I'm here to engage, inform, inspire, Marcy, hang tight so I can end the stream. Don't leave the broadcast. Again, it's Jerlene, live from Long Beach. Just someone out here just using my voice for good, staying in good trouble, but also making sure that we as a people are connected and moving forward together in solidarity.
And thank you, Jerlene and Dr. Kim Tabari, for this opportunity. It's so wonderful to join you and your audience. Together, we're stronger.
Yes, together. So I'm going to end the live stream. Don't leave.